Hello, this is wmpyr. First, let me start off with saying big congratulations to Eddie Bravo on his match against Royler Gracie Metamoris 3. Man, I just saw it and it blew me away. It was an awesome match. I look forward to seeing it again, and maybe I could even make a video specifically on the match later on. But yeah, I didn't think this match was going to happen. This is so incredible that it did actually happen. It was exciting. It did not let me down in any way whatsoever. And it was just as good as I thought it was going to be. So once again, big congrats to Eddie Bravo on that. It's a really big deal for me because back in the day, years ago, when I was training in BJJ, let's see, I was training I trained in a lot of different Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools, but I ended up, the last school that I trained in was a Machado Jiu-Jitsu school. It was actually a Carlos Machado BJJ school. And at the time, I remember I was trying to learn the half guard because there was a whole commotion going on about the half guard revolution in Brazil at the time, that half guard was considered not a good position to be in, but in Brazil they've changed it around and they've completely revolutionized that position to where they were doing amazing things from the half guard. I had read articles about this. A lot of guys that were really into BJJ were talking about this on the forums and stuff. So I kind of knew, but I didn't know how to do it. And lucky for me, Carlos Machado at the time brought in a guy from Brazil who was a champion over there, who just, I believe he beat BJ Penn's brother to win a championship. It could have been Mundials, I don't know, but one of the Sport BJJ championships over there. And this guy was personally helping me out. He was assistant instructor, so he's helping everyone else out, but he was helping me trying to get the half guard. And I think he saw that I was trying to learn it, and I was just getting smashed repeatedly. You know, it'd just be pancaked and then just smashed and then passed, and it just wasn't working for me. But I was trying really hard, and he would be yelling at me, and he'd be like, "No, get onto your side," and you know, blah blah blah, in his broken English. And it was great. It was great just having that kind of direct coaching. And one of the other things was my buddy, a friend of mine, lent me a DVD, and it was called The Smoking Machine, and it was about Eddie Bravo. And I was like, "Isn't Eddie Bravo like my size? He's like a small guy, and what, this guy's supposed to be awesome or something?" All I knew was him from like Pride Fighting Championships. He was like you know, doing interviews and stuff like that, backstage interviews, and some commentating occasionally, and some other shows. I had noticed that, and he had some very opinionated things to say that were interesting. But he also came across, the way he was saying it and stuff, as almost cocky, you know. And I was like, who is this guy? And I watched the DVD. I was blown away. It was called The Smoking Machine, and I think they later changed the cover to The Twister, and it had some comedy stuff in there. It was like a documentary, and it showed his, basically like the humble beginnings of his 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu stuff. This was like before all that. So basically what we saw was Twister, tons of twisters, and we saw a lot of work from the half guard, which was great. He did the lockdown, and then he did old school reliable, which is a sweep from there, and pretty much got the twister from there. It was some great stuff, and really that helped. I mean, it wasn't so much like, oh, now I'm going to start landing twisters on everybody. No, what it did was it helped me understand how to properly do the half guard. So that DVD was a game changer for me. It completely, seeing it live, seeing him as a blue belt at the time, doing it in actual competition, seeing it live, really helped me understand how am I supposed to be in the half guard. So just the basics of not getting pancaked, you know, got to defend the cross guard, and don't let this, the arm that's on top, don't let this get kimura'd, don't get Darcy choked, Bravo choked, all that stuff, you know. It really, and he talks about that. So I went through that with also the coach from this Brazilian guy, and really started changing my game. So by the end, right towards the end of my training there at Machado Jiu-Jitsu, by that time I had gotten it at least to the level where I could start pulling it off pretty much against most everybody, even black belts and stuff. Even if like they outweighed me by a lot, if I could do it for 5 minutes, then I was good, you know. I'm not saying that I was super successful and I could tap everyone out, because that wasn't true at all. I did get smashed and whatnot, and they were running circles around me with positions, but there were definite times where even if they were black belts, heavyweight black belts, that I could put them in it and work the half guard. Actually, what happened was exactly what I saw in the Metamoris the rematch that I saw with Eddie Bravo and Hoyler, the rematch, was that it wasn't a half guard, it was a quarter guard. So that's what happened to me a lot. I didn't even get locked down. I was just in quarter guard. They're passing trying to pass my half guard. I couldn't even get to half guard. So from there, I started developing more the quarter guard. I was like, this is where I'm getting stuck in. This is what I should work on. And watching Eddie Bravo be in the quarter guard and trying to work for the lockdown was great, because I could totally relate to that. So my focus was from there, let's create, you know, my own style. And when I started seeing like Eddie Bravo's 10th Planet, other stuff, like they started bringing, like friends of mine were like, this is good stuff, and they started showing it to me, and they would lend it to me, and it was great stuff, and I would look through it, but I was also at the same time like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it, because I'm trying to develop my own. And this would kind of ruin it, because then I would just be following what he's doing, and he's already hinted and given me so much to work from, which was how to do the half guard properly. And then from there, I was going towards quarter guard. And Eddie Bravo from there, you know, he was going towards his rubber guard and twister setups and stuff like that, and just amazing stuff. All the terminology and all that, I'm not familiar with. I'm not a 10th Planet guy, but I do know this, that by studying what little I've studied of his system, and this is, I think, the biggest part that a lot of people don't get, is that it helped me understand BJJ better. And that's exactly the viewpoint, the attitude that I took by seeing his stuff. Not, oh my gosh, this is some new stuff that I need to learn again. Screw that, he's a jerk. I don't want to learn new stuff. It's all hype. You know, instead of having that attitude, I thought, why not look at it and see how it can benefit me? And I did that the same while I was training BJJ. I did the same with all the past martial arts that I had taken before, like Aikido, Wing Chun. I mean, those are like styles that a lot of BJJ guys and MMA guys make fun of. They make fun of it, sadly. What I did was I took those styles, because I had training in it, and said to myself, how can I apply this to BJJ? And we start from the knees. Aikido does a lot of that, you know. Can't I incorporate some of that? Can't I incorporate the Muay Thai clinch from standing instead of just like fall into guard, or just tackle in for a double leg, you know, takedown type? You know, can I incorporate some of that? And the answer is yes. It's if you have the positive attitude, then you can apply those things. And by doing that, by cross-training, actually, what it does is, in my case, it helped me understand BJJ more. It's not like I'm being unfaithful to BJJ or whatever. I don't know what these people are thinking, but they have a very negative attitude towards, they're very closed-minded. And I think maybe part of the problem was Eddie Bravo wanted to get recognized, because he knew he had something good, and it was solid, the logic was solid, and he was like, okay, how can I get people to pay attention to this? And one of the things that he did was he talked about, he almost was like anti-gi in the way he was talking about it. Like, and a lot of the old school guys probably saw him as an instigator, because you have a system that's solidly developed, and then here comes a new guy, even if he's under your flag, and even if he's doing everything that you know, went through your system and everything, and technically he is BJJ. Eddie Bravo is a pure BJJ guy, if you think about it. He comes from the lineage, and you know, we should be allowed to make it our own, and that's what he did. He made it his own. But because he was talking about, you know, hey, within the system, let's change this. Is the gi really necessary? There's other way. You know, you don't have to go with a gi. You don't have to. You know, he's saying stuff like that, And so I think the elders, you know, the Gracie family and stuff, saw him as a problem, you know, instigator. They're like, we've been teaching this for a long time. Everything's been fine. Why are you causing trouble here, basically, you know? So I think that's the way they saw it. And I don't think, because at the end of the Metamoris 3 rematch, basically what happened was Royce Gracie supposedly went up to Eddie Bravo and was real hostile to the guy, you know. And Eddie Bravo's kind of like, okay, he must have thought that someone said, you know, that Eddie Bravo's talking a lot of bad stuff about you. When actually Eddie Bravo, it hasn't, because, I mean, remember, he is a student of Jean-Jacques. You know, that's a part of the Gracie family. He's under the Gracie family. He's second generation BJJ guy, just like I am. You know, I'm under, my BJJ is under Machado Jiu-Jitsu and some other awesome Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts and stuff. You know, and it's like, yeah, why would you go against that? You know, you wouldn't, and he hasn't. So I think it's just that he was trying to get recognition. And like, for me, being a Filipino martial arts guy, and I'm teaching the sticks, and yes, this is my own version of it, so if someone comes up to me and criticizes me for that, which I have had, you know, it's like, oh well, whatever. But what I'm doing is promoting Filipino martial arts, but I am trying to promote martial arts in general. And if someone comes up to me, and the way I'm teaching it is sticks first, then go to knife, you know, or sticks first, then go to blades. You know, blade is harder stuff. That's the way I teach it. But I don't think that there's other people out there that maybe blade first would be better for them, or, you know, that everybody, absolutely everybody, has to learn with the sticks first. I don't believe that. I recommend that, but I don't believe that the gi is absolutely necessary. I think it could really help. I learned the gi first. Actually, technically, no. But when I finally went to a jiu-jitsu school, I learned it with the gi on first, and it helped me out. I can see the benefits there and everything. But do I think that it's absolutely necessary, or do I think if you're going to be training for a no-gi competition, maybe you shouldn't? You know, you should be training in no-gi. Yeah, I understand all that, and I agree with all that, you know. So that doesn't, to me, paint Eddie Bravo as a bad guy, and I think that's what happened. Because of those words, it's not that he was attacking the Gracie family, or it's not that he's anti-BJJ. Like I said, for me, his stuff has helped my BJJ game get better. He helped me understand BJJ better, and I know a buddy of mine at the time who was training actually later on went to Eddie's 10th Planet School, and he told me that it did the same thing, that it made his basics of regular BJJ way tighter, way better escapes, holding positions and stuff like that. So his understanding of BJJ got better. So, you know, that I don't understand the people that think that he's anti-BJJ, because that's not the case, all right? He made it his own, and boy, did he make it his own, but that still doesn't make it not BJJ. It's a definitely highly stylized version of still BJJ, and like I said, his viewpoints, he wants to train in a different way. I have students that I teach them the sticks and the knives and stuff, and they want to learn it in a different way. You know, I don't believe, I'm just a guide. I don't believe in controlling them and saying you got to belong to my school, you got to become an affiliate, you got to do everything the way I say, you got to follow my textbooks. I don't believe in that. I really don't. That's where I kind of feel like the Bruce Lee and Mr. Miyagi way of teaching, like the backyard style of teaching, that's what I like, and more the personal, private, one-on-one type teaching, because you could, you know, I don't want to say cater towards the students, but you could really, it's more like a tutoring, mentoring, rather than there's like 20, 30 people and they're all just a number, you know. So anyway, those are my some viewpoints on it, and you know, it just really, at both competitors, Eddie Bravo and Royce Gracie are in their 40s or something. It's just amazing. It makes me want to go back and start training BJJ again. It really does. It really does. So anyway, thank you for listening, and take care, folks.